What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Monday Night Raw, the whole show in its entirety. So, if you can believe it, guys, we are officially done with the never-ending Elimination Chamber qualifying matches. Yes, thank you, finally. But we officially know who's going to be in the chambers for the men's and women's matches. And we have an idea of who might face the champions, but honestly, at this point, who knows? Because WWE is constantly surprising me at this point, sometimes for the good and sometimes for the confusing, not gonna lie. But we're gonna talk about all that and more in today's episode. So get ready, leave a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, share, do all of those things. Without further ado, we're gonna be talking about the good. Yes, we're gonna be talking about the bad. And we're going to be talking about the lack of yeets to open the show. Now, look, I have to admit, it was actually kind of nice to not have Jey Uso start the show. And I've been defending him, okay? By the way, I'm still going to defend him. I think this is Jey Uso versus Gunther should main event WrestleMania. I think the yeets are amazing. I'm always doing it in my living room, looking like an absolute buffoon, but who cares? Because it's my living room. And, but all that to say, all right, it was kind of nice to get something a little different to start, and we did start with a package showing Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens' current feud, and apparently this one is different. Right off the bat, we have to talk about the very interesting call from WWE to actually book this match at Elimination Chamber. So it's been speculated for quite a while now that Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn was going to be at WrestleMania. If you watched my last video, where I tried to predict the WrestleMania card, I had them fighting in like an Extreme Rules street fight type of match. So I wasn't far off on that stipulation, but it looks like they're not going to do it at WrestleMania. Why? To me, this really doesn't make that much sense. I thought they were going to stretch this out and make this feud. I mean, Sami Zayn, I thought he was going to sell his injuries for a lot longer, but if he's ready to go in 2 weeks, I mean, I guess. So Kevin Owens does call out Sami Zayn at the Elimination Chamber, and so Sami decides to come to Raw and go in the ring and talk about it. Sami Zayn just starts running down Kevin Owens and their history, talks about how personal it's been, how, and he's probably right about this, how there's probably no other superstars that are more intertwined from beginning of career to now than these two. I mean, literally starting together on the independent scene and then going on to main event WrestleMania, win tag title gold. Like, honestly, he's probably right about that. It's been a crazy history for these two. They literally cannot, you cannot separate these two. It's Sami Zayn and it's Kevin Owens. But Sami Zayn says this time, it's hard to say his name over and over. Sami Zayn says that this time is different. Kevin Owens crossed the line because when he gave him that package pile driver, he was trying to end his career. And that doesn't fly, man. That's too far. So anyway, Sami Zayn says he's not medically cleared, but he does want to fight, and he wants to take Kevin Owens up on his offer, but WWE's not letting him. Adam Pearce isn't letting him. The doctors aren't letting him. Nobody's letting him do it, but he still wants to do it. So Adam Pearce does come out and says, yeah, you're right. I'm not letting you do it because you're not medically cleared, and WWE just cannot sanction this match. So there's that word, and as soon as they drop the S word, I think everybody knew exactly where this was going. They drew this out for a while, but I'm going to skip to the end. Yep, we basically got an unsanctioned WWE match, Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, where literally anything goes. WWE says it's not a part of the show, right? Even though it totally is. But if anything, I love this. I think that's exactly what you need to do for this rivalry to keep heating it up, to give it some magic, right? Because they've been fighting for so long. I just wish it was at WrestleMania. So I don't exactly know why we're doing this. Let me know what you guys think about doing this so early. And what are we going to do instead for these guys at WrestleMania? Are we going to do a rematch? I don't think that would be a good idea. Or are they going to do something totally different? Or are they not going to be on the show at all? Who knows? But either way, great start to Raw. Love the idea. Love the program. Just wish it was at Mania. But I'm still looking forward to the match. What can I say? I'm a fan. And then we transition to another video package. So we're just setting up storylines and all this stuff. And I really didn't mind it. Sometimes I don't like that, but I think it was flowing really well in the beginning of this Raw. We had footage, as we know, of Liv and Raquel at the scene of the crime where Jade Cargill got attacked. So we're gonna find out if they did it. They weren't seen actually doing anything, just looking a little mischievous and villainly. And so we have that. And Bianca Belair and Naomi were in fact at Raw, and they were looking for potential revenge. More on that later. Because it was time for our first match of the evening. It was AJ Styles making his return 2 years since his last match on Raw. I didn't even know that. Versus Dominic Mysterio. Here we go. And overall, I think it was a solid first match back. I mean, I didn't take anything, any big notes. There wasn't anything that stuck out to me, but a solid first match, back and forth. Carlito was outside the ring. He got involved a couple of times. Traditional heel versus face. And what more could you ask for, right? So they have their match. They do their things. AJ Styles wins clean with a Styles Clash. 1, 2, 3. And he's back, baby. But that wasn't even the end there, because as AJ was celebrating, none other than Braun Breaker decided to come and interrupt the party. He came in like a snake and started winding up that spear, that devastating spear that he gave to Speed and nearly killed him with. And he goes for it, but AJ moves out of the way at the last second, and he ends up just wrecking Dominic Mysterio. Dominic not having a good night. And in general, Judgment Day, spoiler alert, not going to have a good night. And we're going to talk about more of that as that unfolds. Braun's on the outside of the ring now. AJ's in the ring. And, and Braun Breaker takes off his shirt, right? And he chunks it at AJ, and he makes the smoothest catch since the Brock Lesnar mic catch. This might top that, because it's a shirt. And he just chunked it at him, and he just caught that thing like it was nothing. That was pretty awesome. And then, of course, angered Braun because he's just getting upstaged left and right. So, I mean, you really could not ask for a more spectacular return match. I mean, from the ring action to the finish to to dodging the spear to the epic catch, which was probably not even planned. AJ's all the way on top, and we're 100% doing this at Mania. Sign me up. Sign me up. Take my blood. Do whatever you need to do. I need to see this match. Amazing start. Then we moved on backstage. We had American Made, and Ivy Nile was really stressing to the guys. Hey, Chad said we need to be having some gold around our waist when he comes back from his luchador adventures. And guess what? None of us have gold around our waist. But I'm going to change that because I'm fighting Dakota Kai, and I'm going to bring home the gold. Dakota Kai comes in. They have a very awkward video game-like exchange. Did not really feel natural, but it's fine. We moved on, and it was indeed time for their match. Like I said, match number 2, Ivy Nile versus Dakota Kai, number 1 contenders match for the Intercontinental Championship. And so, of course, Lyra Valkyria, the champion, sitting outside the ring. Now, this is what we need to be doing. Off the bat, I love this. We need to be putting more spotlight on the Intercontinental Championship for the women and for the men, and for just the mid-card titles in general. So women's United States Championship, men's United States Championship, which is probably in the most dire straits right now. It's not being used at all, really. So I love that we were showcasing both the IC titles back to back, essentially right here on this episode. Good stuff. Now, as far as the match itself, not necessarily a good match. It was the crowd was very dead. I think they had a great, to no fault of their own, really. I mean, they put on a pretty good match. It was solid ring work, but the crowd was just not really into it, which made me kind of lose interest, and it kind of just kept losing steam, and it kind of dragged a little bit. So not a great match. Do I think it says anything about the performers? No. I think Ivy Nile and Dakota Kai are fantastic wrestlers. Maybe just a little off night. At the end of the match, Dakota Kai did get the win by hitting the GTK, her finisher, right? So she hits that. She gets the win. It's Dakota Kai versus Lyra Valkyria. IC title on the line. Next week on Raw. God, thanks. Great. Not my favorite match, like I said, but still looking forward to this feud. Looking forward to this title defense I think they're gonna have a great match. So I'm just very optimistic. So it was fine. It was fine. And then we moved on to one of my favorite segments of the night. I think all the segments on the show were really awesome. Really helped this Raw stand out in my opinion, because we transitioned to Gunther coming through the crowd mocking Jey Uso. So beautiful. Of course he has to do this. Of course we got to get that footage for their WrestleMania match. This was great. He came through the crowd to a roar of boos, and started even heckling a kid on his way down, just doing all the dirty heel stuff he could possibly do, and mocking the crowd as they tried to yeet him away to no avail. And they literally started doing that like it was some kind of repellent. But Gunther's too strong. He's too strong. He just kept on going, making his way through the crowd, eventually making it all the way down to the outside of the ring. And then we moved on from there. And look, honestly, I got to say here that I know that Jey Uso gets a lot of hate, specifically online, but I just don't get it because, like, yeah, people don't seem to really mess with him online, but every crowd show, the Yeet movement is live, and it's very electric. So it's a really weird kind of like contradiction right there. I'm a fan of it. I think it's great. And the crowd was 100% trying to stand up for Jey Uso, who was not even there. It was just Gunther trying to make a fool and mock him, but the crowd was just relentless and not letting him do it. Gunther eventually gets on the table like Jey Uso typically does, and he looks at Pat and Michael Cole and asks them, "Do you really think that Jey Uso has a chance to beat me?" He then chunks the mic at Pat pretty hard. And Pat pretty much is like, yeah, I think he probably could beat you. Jey Uso comes out, and security has to like try to stop them. Then it becomes a typical WWE fashion brawl. We got to do it for the video package, and we did it. Crowd was super hot. Everybody in the arena loved Jey. I love Jey. I love the Yeets. I'm glad we did not start with this. I think that was a good move. Having it in the middle of the show gave it some new life, and I think Gunther coming down and doing an amazing job with that was just awesome. So what are they going to do next? I think eventually this is going to wear tired. This is going to wear out, I should say. So they got to like figure something else out. We have a long way to go until WrestleMania to keep this interesting and to make it even more interesting. So what are they going to do next? Who knows? Let's just see what happens. A lot of Judgment Day on this episode. We did go back to Liv and Raquel in the back. A lot of Judgment Day, but not in a good way. They probably did not want to be featured this much because they were all the butt of the jokes and losing. So they're back there. Kathy Kelly's interviewing, and I'm talking about the footage. And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. That proves nothing. But, you know, if we did attack Jade, not saying we did, but if we did, would we feel bad? Absolutely not. So typical heel stuff. Did they do it? No, I don't think they did it. If I had to theorize, it was probably Naomi. I'm going to go on that bandwagon because it would just make the most sense. Liv and Raquel would be way too obvious, and they're dragging this out for a long time, so there has to be some kind of plot twist or some kind of big reveal or development for it to make sense. If it just turned out to be Liv, all of this would have been kind of dumb. So just a distraction for Bianca, I think, as she tries to get to the bottom of this. A red herring, as you will. It was time for our third match of the evening. It was Penta versus Pete Dunne, number 2, and it was great. Okay, I love Penta. All right, I loved him coming out in the red, white, and black attire. Just in one of the best entrances in the game right now. Just really, really good work with Pete Dunne as well. And yeah, and I mean, honestly, the only person who should have fear is that cameraman who got absolutely wiped out by the booty of Penta. Like, that thing just took him out when he was on the rope, when he was on the apron right there. That made me laugh. That was really funny. And then they had their match, and it was a vicious start. What more can you say? It was very, very brutal. Good back and forth stuff. Good typical Penta style match and Pete Dunne style match. And bad it did, because after a Mexican destroyer from Penta, he tries to follow up the momentum with a dive to Pete Dunne on the outside, but Kaiser distracts him, allowing Dunne to get the advantage. Of course, Dunne's like, hey, I got this. So he's really upset at Kaiser, and he goes, hey, stay out of this. I don't want you in this match. Go away. Okay? Which then causes him to get distracted, Pete, and then which allows Penta to kind of that's what Penta throws Dunne into Kaiser, who's on the apron, knocks him off, and then hits the Penta driver and gets the win. Just like that. 1, 2, 3. Honestly, I thought this encounter was even better than their first one, because we're introducing story as well, and there's an angle now, and it's these three guys, and it's not even Ludwig and Pete Dunne like working together. They kind of aren't liking each other, because after the match, Kaiser did attack Penta as he was celebrating, but then Pete and him got into it with each other, which allowed Penta to then take both of them out and end up still on top. So, I mean, you have three men who are not getting along at all. That's going to probably lead to a triple threat match of some sort, and I'm all here for it. Yeah, good stuff. And then we had a very, very interesting and new development. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to say off the bat, I called it. I did indeed pick Roxanne Perez to be in the Elimination Chamber before this match was even announced, and I was a very happy camper. So it was Roxanne Perez versus Raquel Rodriguez for the final qualifying match for the Women's Elimination Chamber. And yeah, it was pretty good, honestly. Roxanne, like, I just got to say off the bat, Roxanne is such a star. Like, she's very athletic, very fast, can do a lot of rolling, and the rolls she does are very, very smooth. Like, probably some of the smoothest I've seen. Yeah, that's a pretty good compliment, I think. It's a unorthodox one. Like, hey, nice rolls. But I mean it. Like, she's really fast, really athletic, and does a great job in this match. The story was power versus speed. I think they told it very well. I think they paced it very well. Raquel also did great. I remember critiquing her a little bit like last week, but I thought she did a great job this week, showing up and showing out. And but at the end, it was not to be her night. It was not to be anybody's night in the Judgment Day, because Roxanne did hit the Pop Rocks and got the win after a distraction, I should add, from Bianca and Naomi. So it wasn't a totally clean win, because guess what? Bianca and Naomi, not happy about hearing Liv and Raquel's comments, mixed in with the footage as well. They came down and attacked Liv, distracting Raquel, and then Pop Rocks, 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Roxanne's in the chamber. I'm happy. At the chamber, like I said, it's going to be Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Roxanne Perez, Alexa Bliss, and Bayley. Who's going to win? Not going to say just yet. I have to think about it, contemplate it, and I'll probably make a video about it. So stay tuned for that. And then Karrion Kross was on my screen, and I couldn't care less. Right after that, we transitioned to the New Day. The New Day are one of my favorite things going on right now in wrestling. Their development is so good. The heel turn is everything I've wanted it to be. It's great, man. It's great. So they come out. We finally get to see the lost footage that we didn't get to see of the Rey Mysterio beatdown, which just kind of showed them beating the hell out of him with a steel chair as well. And then Dragon Lee and the LWO trying to come and save the day. But New Day still came out on top, looking pretty good. So yeah, that's what we missed whenever Raw cut at the beginning of that beatdown last week. So cut to this Raw. New Day's in the ring. They try to talk and they get Dominic level Mysterio heat. They cannot get a word out. And that's just my new favorite thing in wrestling right now. Please, guys, keep that up. It's so good. Now, I'm not going to try to... I really can't do this promo justice. Like, I really think if you're going to check out a promo from Raw, I think the Gunther one was great. And I think this segment was just so good. Like, you have to go and check it out for yourself, because Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston deliver amazing heel promos. They ran down Rey Mysterio, talked about how the WWE Universe should be thanking him because they could have gone and shot him, basically. Like, they were very aggressive in their tone and the delivery and their choice of words, even bringing God into the mix, so you know that they're real heels, and pretty wild stuff. So, I mean, they really did a great, phenomenal job getting heat for this angle. But before they could continue anymore, the LWO came and interrupted. It was Dragon Lee taking the mic and delivering a pretty good promo himself. Now, look, he spoke some Spanish. I don't know any Spanish, but I know at the end he said, New Day sucks. I know what that means. He did a great job. Then they all rushed the ring and attacked them, and they got a little bit of revenge. So really good stuff. It's again just something you should check out. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thought it was amazing. And just like that, we have arrived to our main event of the evening. It was Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the final spot for the men's Elimination Chamber qualifying matches. And here we go. Finn did attack Seth Rollins before the bell to get a little bit of an advantage because he knew he would need all the help in the world because he never gets a win, and nobody thought he would get a win here. Did WWE pull the swerve? You know they didn't. One weird thing that happened, did you guys notice that halfway through the match, the fans started flashing their phones like the flashlight? They started doing that in the dark. That was weird. Okay, did it get darker? Have they done that before? Have I not noticed that, like in the middle of a match? It looked kind of cool in the distance. It looked really, really ominous. But the people that were doing it in the front row, it's kind of distracting. The end of this match, I really, really liked. Have to shout out the finish for this. Finn Balor was doing the cross face to Seth Rollins, who then countered with like a roll. And then when he rolled, it left like Finn in the position for the stomp. He hit the stomp and he got the 1, 2, 3. I just thought that was a very smooth, clever way to get the finish right there. And just like that, Seth Rollins wins and he's in the chamber. And nobody predicted otherwise. The biggest thing to take away from this is the Judgment Day, and this was by no accident, I'm sure, looked absolutely horrendous on this episode. So everybody lost. Nobody's looking strong. They're the laughingstock of the WWE right now. So what are they going to do to turn it around? Are they going to fade into nothingness? Has Triple H given up on the Judgment Day? No, I don't think so. I think his long-term storytelling is just going into effect here. He wants to give them hell before he can then rise them up. I think they're going to turn on Finn Balor, and then I think that's going to rejuvenate them and hopefully get them back on track. And Dominic Mysterio's been teasing a new member. Like, he wants to bring in a new member. So who is that member going to be? I think they're going to do that once they get Finn out. They're going to be like, yeah, you know what? We decided we are going to get a new member, and we're actually going to have him replace you. So that'll be really fun to think about. Hopefully they do that. Maybe I'm being too optimistic, but they need something because they're looking really rough. The men in the Elimination Chamber look amazing. We have a star-studded match for that in a couple of weeks here. We've got Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, Logan Paul. We got John Cena, CM Punk, and lastly, Seth freaking Rollins. What a stacked Elimination Chamber we have. That was Raw. So overall, I thought it was a really, really great show. Okay, promos went off, segments popped off. The most of the matches were great. Now, like I said, I'm going to start giving a grade to the entirety of the show on this thing. Now, I can't give it an A, okay, because not every single match was great. Specifically, Ivy versus Dakota was a little boring. And then we had a very predictable main event. Like, nobody thought for 1 millisecond that Finn was going to win. So because of that, final grade, B+. All right, so B+, solid show. Really good stuff, but nothing extraordinary. They didn't take any chances that were like, whoa, that was crazy, you know. So B+, pretty solid show. Yeah. My personal favorite match of the night was Pete Dunne versus Penta. I'm obviously biased because I love Penta right now. Least favorite match, Ivy versus Dakota. Said it a couple times already. My favorite segment, it was a toss-up between Gunther and the New Day, but I think that the heel promo from the New Day, specifically Xavier Woods, was so good. That was my favorite segment of the night. Leading me to my least favorite segment, which was not really a segment, but I'm going to put right here the fact that they're doing Sammy versus Kevin Owens at the Chamber and not WrestleMania is just criminal. So that's going to be my least favorite thing that happened on this show. But other than that, let me know what you guys thought of Raw. Let me know what you guys think of this road to WrestleMania and what you guys are predicting for the Chamber. So leave a comment, leave a like, please subscribe for more, and I'll see you on the next one.